they're a bit more space related discoveries in recent times that I would like to go over a bit. You've had a
Ooh,
lot to
ooh,
say. I want to.
you have stuff to talk
I
about?
know. I have.
You did
Believe it or not.
research?
Believe it or not.
I really
I know
don't.
some things. Something. I know how to Google.
Go for it. Hit me with your Google.
So of course, there is the photograph of a black hole. Everyone's seen that. That happened, I think, like a couple years back, right? Two
Yeah,
years, maybe,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So like you see it in that was the first ever actual photograph of a black hole. Like before, there have been simulations and theories into what a black hole would actually look like. Something we'll get into in a later podcast, right, Hitansh?
We will? Yes, yes, we
Yes, yes,
will.
exciting stuff, exciting stuff. But yes, so this was the actual photographic proof of a black hole. Like, of course, it you can't actually take a colored picture of a black hole. Most of the pictures that they take of in space are black and white. They just add color to it. If you didn't know that, Hitesh.
What? Yo, I actually did
Yeah.
not know that.
No, yeah,
What? They've
basically,
been
yeah,
lying
because
to me? Space is black and white?
yeah, well, yeah, there is no color. Human life is a simulation. But no, I mean, like if you look at a picture, like one of those famous pictures of a nebula, like the one with all the pretty colors and clouds and all that.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know the exact name, but that basically they're only able to capture a certain wavelength of the electromagnetic spectrum. I forget exactly what it is. So from that, they can't actually discern color, but basically they would determine the different types of materials that exist within that image, right? So like,
Hmm.
I don't know, carbon or something like that. And then they would determine what kind of color those certain materials would emit. And from that, they would then add color to the black and white image based on how much of those specific materials exist. And that's how you get these colored images.
Whoa, I had no idea.
Yeah, so
Wow,
that's
that's
why
actually
they
really
all look
cool.
so vibrant and pretty. Like they probably wouldn't look like that in person, but
Yes,
that
in person, I don't.
yeah,
Yes,
if you
yeah,
look
I will have
outside
the
and you see that
opportunity to
black
see them in
hole,
person. Yes.
yes, of course. It's right there, man. But yeah, that's a bit of a tangent. But yes, so there was a photograph of a black hole, and that's just like, hey, look, these are actually a thing. They exist. So that was a pretty interesting discovery that they did. Um, Another thing, in August 2019, so just last year, they detected the collision between a black hole and a neutron star. So again, these are things that they had just theorized and observed from different movements of planetary bodies and just like, hey, something must have happened here. It was probably a collision, but this was actually the first time they detected something happening.
Wait,
So that was,
I'm confused. What does a neutron start colliding? I'm sorry, I have no background in space stuff. But
what are you doing here, my man?
I'm
You're
sorry.
fired. So basically, like,
I resign.
a neutron star. Again, it's been a while since I did astronomy, so I kind of forget of it. But a neutron star, I'm pretty sure, is like um, a star after, like, at the end of its life, basically. Maybe I'm pretty sure.
Sure, but what does the collision do? Why is that
No,
important?
maybe it's not. I don't know. It's a specific type of star, but basically, it's a supermassive, like, dense thing, and then it collides with another extremely supermassive dead things, which makes big boom.
Oh, okay. Makes big boom.
Yeah,
That's why it's
makes big
important.
boom. Yeah, exactly. Big boom. Very big boom.
Back to
Again,
American way of life. Big
it's
boom.
been a while, so I don't know exactly what a neutron star is. I could Google it, but I'm too lazy. There was another thing where they recently discovered that the universe was expanding 9% faster than they had originally predicted, but
Hmm.
they don't know why. It could be accounted for by the existence of some dark energy or some undiscovered physics. So that's a pretty interesting thing.
Interesting.
You do know that the universe is expanding, right? Please tell me that.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yes,
yes.
that's
I
good.
knew that. Yes,
Of
because it'll get
course.
to a point where we won't be able to. It'll exceed the speed of light, and we won't be able to see past the observable universe or something.
Well, it's already at the point where we technically can't get to the edge of the universe because it's expanding faster than
The
the
speed of
speed of light.
travel.
Yeah.
Oh, the speed of
Well,
light.
I mean, exactly. Well, technically, like the whole thing about mass can't travel at the speed of light, so the planets aren't moving, but the empty space in between the
Yeah, I don't.
planets, antimatter
You're
is
a nerd.
expanding.
You're a nerd. I
Yeah,
don't want that. You're
exactly.
a
So
nerd. I
all
don't
that
want.
fun
Shut
stuff.
up. Shut up. You're a nerd.
Yes.
Nerd.
And then also, like, hey man, and then also, 2019, an atomic clock was launched into space. Do you know what an atomic clock is attached? Do you know what they're used for here on Earth?
Okay, now you're trying to make me feel dumb. You're a nerd. You're a nerd. You know that, right? You're a nerd.
Is it your
Go. What
defense
is it?
mechanism?
What's? Yes, this is my defense mechanism. Go.
Well, they're actually used for GPS.
What? How?
Yeah, so basically, again, it's been a while. I'm I'm big dumb, so I forget exactly how this works. But there's this whole thing with how the atomic clock calculates the actual passing of time, and there's a whole thing with time dilation because things are traveling at different speeds, so they exhibit different times relative to one another. So then, the atomic clock can basically calculate the distance that you're moving based on the difference between the time that it experiences and the time that you experience.
Jesus. Okay.
Yes. So
Okay.
basically, that's a very dumbed down and probably incorrect way of explaining this because I'm big dumb. But basically, launching this atomic clock into space is done with the intention of one day, if we ever are able to travel into space, that can be used as a sort of GPS device in deep space.
That's very interesting, actually.
Exactly. So then they can drive up to the nearest McDonald's on Europa or something like that because,
Nice.
if space travel exists, McDonald's will definitely go intergalactic. But, and then also along with that, this is the last thing, I swear to God, this is the last of my nerd talk. But along with the atomic clock that was sent out, they also sent out the first solar sailing spacecraft. Do you know what that is?
Why do you ask when you know the answer? No, I don't. I'm dumb.
Well, that sounds like a you problem. But anyway, so the photons from light, they have a speed to them, right? Which means that they can exert somewhat of a force. The only reason that you don't get slammed into the ground after looking up at the sun and getting light shown on you is because they have extremely small mass. So in space, where there is essentially no air resistance or anything out there, right?
Hmm.
You can essentially have some sort of a very dumbed down way is have a big sail that catches a bunch of light and it uses that to propel itself.
Dude, can I add to this? Because I can relate
You can
somehow.
relate to a big sail
Okay,
catching
see,
light.
yes. So I don't think you've watched Space Force, right?
No, I have not.
Okay, for everyone who has watched Space Force, there is in episode 2. So I guess it's not a spoiler. Okay, there's a point where they actually make a note to what he just said because there's a satellite in space that's gotten detached. Like the two arms have been detached, and they need the arms to return back to the body of the satellite. And one of the scientists actually, I just remembered, they actually say we could use the sun as like a force to push the panels in. I was like, what? How does that even work? That sounds stupid. And wow, that just makes sense now.
No, yeah, it's just like the only thing is you need
Oh
a
my god.
surface area. Again, because it's such a negligible mass, you need a surface area extremely large and material extremely light so that
So
the
space material,
ratio,
yeah.
exactly, so that the ratio of surface area to mass is ideal enough for the sun to actually the light to be able to push you in a certain direction.
Oh, also, yes, what he said, yes, but also, space. Going back to Space Force because Netflix and that's a good show. In space, boots on the moon is a real thing. Lunar base is actually a thing that's planned to happen in 2030, and it will be a place for it'll be like a middle place for astronauts to sort of rest up a bit or like regain fuel and regain resources so they can continue their space exploration.
There
So
will be a
boots on the
McDonald's
moon
there, right?
is a real thing.
So I can
Yes.
you can have chicken nuggies up on the
Chicken
moon.
nuggies. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Chicken nuggies.